I would speak to you of the time of the disintegration of worlds. I would speak to you of the necessary factors of decay. I would speak to you of the magnificent grids of his mind, of his will, and of the reinforcements of reality. You live in a time of transition when the very atoms and molecules beneath your feet are in a state of disintegration. Consider the meaning of the word disintegration. That which is integrated must become unintegrated. It is a time when the snake sheds its skin. It is time when the old man is put off and the new man is born. It is the hour when the old world must pass and the new world and the new order of the ages must come to the fore. Consider then what is the danger to the soul that must pass in the way when old forms of time and space are passing out of view and out of the eye of God. Consider the tethering of the soul to the grids of life. Take care then, and take heed at my warning, that within each one of you there is substance that is in the process of returning to the great central sun, substance that must pass away, karma if you will, and the momentums of age and of self-willing in many other spheres and many other years. That energy is swiftly returning to the core of fire, for it can no longer be sustained in time and space, for it has not the impetus of his light. During this process of the filing of the molecules one by one back to the source, take care and take heed that you as a soul, as a mind, as a heart, as a being of God, do not identify with that energy that must go the way of disintegration. The malaise of the world and its maladies are caused by the very fact that mankind identify with the processes of disintegration instead of with the great cosmic ongoing reach of integration with the being and consciousness of God. This truly is the only salvation. To then be on fire with the will of God is to hang on to those grids of the divine blueprint. Hang on for your life with all of your might and all of your will and all of your determination, so that the days might be shortened for the electrons who are electing to go back to the heart of God's will, that energy might be renewed, that life might be reborn. Consider then how, by the reinforcement of those spirals of decay, you re-enter the old way, and you yourself then become participants in this ritual of disintegration. And you find your soul then reinforcing old habits of sloth and of deceit. And where will you find yourself in the hour of judgment, in the hour of the trial, in the hour of the testing? Or have, with your denials of all else, have you denied the judgment out of the very cosmos? Well, then I say, if the process of denial has been your means of escape from reality and responsibility, then the cosmos itself must deny you out of its force field. Take care, then, that you do not enter into the nihilism of those who have perverted the true Zen. Take care that you understand the true teachings of the Buddha, and realize that to affirm I am here and now is to unite the spirals of being and consciousness with reality, with integration, with a blueprint. Take heed then that every rebellion and every word of rebellion that proceeds as a perversion of the Word of God is an account for which you are accountable. More than that, your denials of the will of God reinforce that process whereby there is a shrinking of the soul, as though there were a shrinking of the very sun in the heavens. So the soul and its impact, its aura and its force field does shrink when you deny the allness of God by asserting the smallness of the lesser self, its ego and its preferences. Think then on the glories of the new day. Think then on the diamond of God's heart. Think of your oneness with that heart. Think of nothing else night and day. Yea, I say in this hour, this final hour of the testing of a world that appears in its dying stage. Think of God. Think of reinforcing God within, and count not the cost. I am real. I have become real because I have ordained reality. I have maintained reality. And I have not feigned reality. I have stood for life at the point of death. I have gladly sacrificed the form. And this is the least of my sacrifices, or of any that you could make. For to sacrifice in life the temptations, to reduce life and selfhood to an excuse for a man, an excuse for a woman. This then is the way of the sacrifice of the Christ. You must be willing to thrust off a layer of darkness this day, for this day is a cosmic cycle and a cosmic moment. It is an hour when cosmic councils wait to see who will be counted for the victory and for the light. It is one of those moments that will not come again. It is a moment when the wise and the humble and those who are God-fearing will take stock and will say, am I all right with God? Or is there something in me that he would not approve of, that I would not approve of, but that I am keeping around for another day of sacrifice? Procrastination is a disease that is the death of the Chila. There can be no initiation. There can be no ongoing hierarchy without initiation. And when initiation comes, there is no postponement. You may think, your carnal mind may tell you in its reasoning powers that you will take this test another time. Be not fooled, be not mocked, for the God in you is not mocked, and your soul, when confronted by the light, makes a choice, even if it is a not choice. Even if you fail to affirm the law and the truth of life, so you find that the fires of initiation have passed over the ground of consciousness, and if they have left a scorched earth, you have no one to blame but yourself. For your readiness, you have had eons to be ready. Heaven then is not tolerant of those who are not ready, yet who want the fires of heaven, who would steal those fires if they could. Heaven does not say, poor thing, he's not ready, he didn't sleep well, he didn't eat well, he had a hard time. Heaven is in no mood to be dallying with a human consciousness. Those who count for God must count themselves worthy by putting off the excuses and the sympathies and the nonsense of the human consciousness. I say to you, if you would be Sheilas of the will of God and of Morya, then consider that I do not take as Sheilas those who procrastinate the initiations of Maitreya. I do not count in my association of disciples in Darjeeling those who knock and then fail to take the cup, the hemlock, who fail to drink that cup that spells the end to the human ego. And therefore I say to one and all, if you would be a part of my consciousness of the will of God, if you would have my momentum to victory, then give heed, for I knock this day, I come and I stand in the way. Will you go around me? Will you attempt to push me aside or walk through me? I say, it would be better that you stop in your tracks, look up and face the face of the will of God, and have the courage to look into my eyes and to determine whether you can stand with courage the eyes of the will of God, showing within you those force fields of deceit, which are the carnal mind's defenses of a waning ego. Determine if you can stand the gaze that is the power of the ray of the will of God, to show you what you must do to come into alignment. I say, let the real Sheilas of Morya stand and be counted. So my angels come to place upon you the mark of the M. And when you come to Darjeeling in your finer bodies, we will see if the mark of the M has been defended, and if the arrow of the mark has been shot into the consciousness of the will of God. So I say, watch and be defenders of the M, of the Mother, of Michael, Morya, Mary, and Mark, and all who espouse the twin flames of victory in this hour. So when you have been counted and tallied, then we will see how many we really have to fight the fight of victory for a planet and a people. I shall return and I shall give you the counting and the accounting of the servitors of his will.